Modern life is a roller coaster, isn't it? We find ourselves caught in a whirlwind of information, expectations, and, let's be honest, a whole lot of unnecessary baggage. Have you ever stopped to think about how much weight we carry, both on our backs and in our minds? This feeling of overwhelm, of constantly chasing our tails, is something many people experience. But what if I told you there's a path, a way to simplify, to find an oasis of inner peace amidst the chaos? No, I'm not talking about disappearing off the map, but about a profound transformation that allows you to take a deep breath and face anything with enviable self-control. We live in an era where having more has become a mantra, but does this relentless pursuit of things truly bring us lasting happiness? What if true wealth lies elsewhere, in a kind of wisdom that teaches us to dance to the music, but with our own feet firmly planted on the ground? Prepare to unlock ancient secrets and powerful concepts that, believe it or not, can be the key to a lighter, more focused, and most importantly, more your life. Let's dive together into this journey that will change your perception of what truly matters and give you the tools to cultivate unshakable resilience. Stoicism and minimalism, an unbeatable duo. It might sound like self-help jargon, I know, but the truth is we're about to explore two Eastern and Western philosophies that, together, form an unbeatable duo for anyone seeking that clarity and inner strength. Stoicism and minimalism. Forget everything you think you know about these ideas and come with me to discover how they intertwine to offer you a practical guide for modern life. You'll be surprised how ancient concepts can be so current and transformative. Ready for this journey of detachment and self-knowledge? We live in a crazy rush, with so much to deal with that sometimes it feels like we're going to explode, right? Well, when we look at minimalism and Stoicism, we notice a deep connection, almost an embrace between these two philosophies. Think about it, minimalism invites you to detach from excessive clutter, to organize your space thoroughly, transforming the external into a lighter and more functional place. It's like tidying up your house to tidy up your head, you know? But Stoicism goes further, nudging you to detach from mental burdens, those worries that weigh on your soul, and emotional ties that hinder more than they help. It's as if it's saying, okay, the house is clean, but what about your mind? It needs a cleanup too. Both pull you towards simplicity, one in the external world and the other in our inner universe, seeking that much-desired inner peace. You know, the minimalism we see popping up everywhere today emerged as a direct response to this avalanche of consumerism that swallowed us in the 21st century. It's a shout of enough to so much unnecessary stuff that advertising tries to force down our throats. As for Stoicism, my friend, it's ancient but with an impressive relevance. It was born in ancient Greece around the 3rd century BCE, with thinkers like Zeno of Citium, who began to ponder how to live a good life, a life worth living. It's interesting to see how ideas that arose in such different times and contexts can converge on the same ideal of a fuller, more focused life, teaching the importance of self-control in the face of adversity. The big takeaway is that minimalism tends to be more practical, focusing on what we buy, what we accumulate, and how we consume more consciously. It's about what to do with your things, how to organize your wardrobe to have fewer clothes and more time. Stoicism, on the other hand, goes deeper, diving into ideas, emotions, your character, your virtue. It asks you, what do you think? How do you react? What kind of person do you want to be? While minimalists seek a freer, clearer life without material clutter, Stoics aim for moral improvement, living in harmony with reason and nature, using resilience to deal with challenges. Both are paths to a life with more meaning, but each with its main focus. Curious, isn't it? How about we delve into the principles of Stoicism? Fundamental principles of Stoicism. Now that we've chatted about how Stoicism and minimalism complement each other, let's dive deeper into the pillars that support this ancient philosophy. The first, and perhaps one of the most important, is reason. For us living today, it seems obvious, right? But the Stoics, way back when, already grasped the importance of using logic to understand the world around us and, even more crucially, to guide our actions. It's not just about thinking, it's about acting thoughtfully. Think about it, how many times do we act on impulse and later regret it? Stoicism invites you to hit the brakes, to breathe, and to use your head before rushing out. This leads you to a life of virtue and, consequently, to a delightful inner peace. It's the opposite of living on autopilot, it's living with purpose and self-control. And speaking of control, we come to a fundamental principle that, I confess, changed the way I see life, the clear distinction between what we can control and what we cannot. It seems simple, but it's a goldmine. We stress ourselves out about traffic, about other people's opinions, about the weather, about the economy. All things that, frankly, are totally out of our reach. Stoicism teaches you to focus on what's within your command, your thoughts, your perceptions, your reactions, and your actions. Everything that comes from outside, my friend, is uncertain territory. This insight frees you from an enormous burden, helping you cultivate incredible resilience in the face of life's setbacks. Epictetus, one of the great names of Stoicism, said it's not events that disturb us, but our interpretation of them. Something to reflect on, right? And what do we do with this control that we have? The pursuit of virtue. For the Stoics, a happy life isn't one full of luxuries or fleeting pleasures, but rather a virtuous life. And we're not talking about being a saint, but about practicing wisdom, having the courage to face challenges, being just in your relationships, and having temperance, that is, balance in everything you do. Think of a Marcus Aurelius, an emperor who, even with all his power, sought virtue in every decision. It's like a treasure map to happiness, where the treasure isn't gold, but a solid character and an inner peace that no one can take from you. It's about building an unshakable foundation for your life, based on self-control and detachment from what doesn't add value. Teachings and legacies of Stoic philosophers. It's really cool to see how the wisdom of Stoicism didn't just stay in books, but was applied in real life by people who truly made a difference. Take Seneca, for example. This guy, who was a great philosopher and imperial advisor, left an incredible legacy in his letters and writings. He didn't just stick to theory, you know? Seneca was a master at showing how we can take Stoic ideas and bring them into our daily routine. Like how to deal with anger, how to face death, which is an inevitable topic, right? Or even how to enjoy life more consciously. He spoke a lot about the importance of living in the present and not clinging to the past or worrying excessively about the future, a beautiful example of detachment. His lessons are an invitation to look within and apply self-control in daily life, cultivating virtue in every step. Then we have Epictetus, a figure whose very story inspires immense resilience. Born a slave, he became one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, and his works, like the Enchiridion and the Discourses, are true practical guides to a good life. In the Enchiridion, for example, he gives you about 10 lessons that are a cold shower for our anxiety. He reinforces the idea of control, what we can and cannot control, the acceptance of fate, the pursuit of a virtuous life, detachment from material possessions and external circumstances, self-discipline and self-control. It's as if he's saying, my friend, the world will shake you, but you decide how you'll react. He teaches you to overcome fear through reason, to be kind and empathetic, to learn from criticism, and to develop an iron resilience through self-reflection. And you can't talk about Stoicism without mentioning the giant Marcus Aurelius. This Roman emperor, known as the Philosopher King, left a treasure for humanity, his Meditations. Reading what he wrote, we enter the mind of a man who was at the peak of power but spent his days reflecting on right and wrong, duty, and the meaning of life. He led during the terrible Antonine Plague, a period of chaos, and yet, his meditations show impressive resilience and inner peace. His 10 lessons include controlling perception, accepting what cannot be changed, focusing on the present moment, cultivating humility and empathy, practicing gratitude, using adversity as an opportunity for growth, being guided by reason, cultivating inner peace, practicing detachment, and maintaining progress. It's almost a manual on how to live well, even when the world seems to be falling apart. And now that we've journeyed through these great names of Stoicism, how about we take a look at how these ideas connect with some Eastern philosophies? Connections with Eastern philosophies. It's fascinating how human wisdom, even in different corners of the world, often arrives at similar conclusions about what constitutes a good life, isn't it? We've just delved into Stoicism and seen how it preaches self-control, detachment, and inner peace, and now let's take a leap to the East. Take Buddhism, for example. Their middle way, which seeks balance, and the Four Noble Truths: suffering, the cause of suffering, the cessation of suffering, and the path to that cessation strongly echo what Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus already said. The idea that suffering comes from attachment, and that we can free ourselves from it, is a very strong point of connection. Furthermore, the practice of mindfulness and meditation, so present in Buddhism, are incredible tools for cultivating inner peace and self-control, values so dear to the Stoics. And it doesn't stop there. Taoism, another inspiring Eastern philosophy, brings principles such as simplicity, naturalness, and the famous Wu Wei, which is non-action, meaning acting without forcing things, flowing with life. Doesn't that remind you a little of the Stoic detachment from what cannot be controlled? And the concept of yin and yang for seeking balance? All of this strongly aligns with the idea of living in harmony with nature, which is a pillar of Stoicism. It's as if, on one hand, the Stoics talk about the virtue of accepting the flow of life with resilience, and on the other, the Taoists teach us to dance with that flow gently, without resistance, finding inner peace and spontaneity. It's an interesting symbiosis of ideas that, though expressed in different ways, point to the same direction: a lighter, more authentic life. Finally, when we look at Hinduism and Confucianism, the connections become even more evident. In Hinduism, dharma, which is the idea of moral responsibility and duty, and non-attachment are central concepts, very close to the Stoic pursuit of virtue. Practices like yoga and meditation, which seek self-knowledge and inner peace, are direct paths to what Stoicism proposes. As for Confucianism, with its doctrine of the mean, which preaches balance and simplicity and the importance of benevolence and rituals correct behavior, it shows how the valuing of social relationships and the pursuit of virtuous behavior are universal. Do you see how, regardless of latitude, humanity has always sought a path to inner peace, self-control, and detachment from the shackles that prevent us from living fully? How about we now think about how to apply all this in practice? Practical application. All this talk about Stoicism, minimalism, and Eastern philosophies is great in theory, but what really matters is how we bring it into our daily lives, isn't it? Minimalism, for example, isn't just about having fewer things, it's about having the right things, those that truly matter and add value. Starting is simpler than it seems. How about organizing one room at a time? Think about that clutter that bothers you and just go for it. Donate what you don't use, sell what can be useful to someone else, and reorganize what stays. And for conscious consumption, the tip is always to ask yourself, do I really need this? Will this bring me lasting joy, or is it just a momentary impulse? Reading books like Marie Kondo's The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up can give you an initial push and help you see material detachment as a path to inner peace. And on the Stoicism side, the application is even more about what happens inside us. The first thing is to recognize what you can control and what you cannot. It's liberating, I swear. An unforeseen event happened? Instead of despairing, ask yourself, is this within my control? If not, use your resilience to accept and focus on what you can do. Another golden tip is to make choices based on your values, not on the emotion of the moment or external pressure. Think about it, what's really important to you? Is it your virtue, your integrity, your family? Use that as your compass. Regular self-reflection is also crucial. Take a few minutes out of your day to think about your reactions, your decisions. A journal, for example, is a powerful tool. Marcus Aurelius' Meditations is a great example of how self-reflection can guide a life. The big takeaway is to combine these two philosophies for a clearer, more focused, and, most importantly, more meaningful life. Just think, a physical space organized by minimalism gives you more clarity to focus on what truly matters, and a mind trained by Stoicism gives you the self-control and inner peace to deal with life's challenges without being shaken. It's not about seeking perfection, but about seeking continuous progress. It's like daily training for your body and your mind, where detachment from the superfluous and focus on virtue become habits. How about taking the first step today, choosing a small area of your life to apply these principles? Challenges and considerations. Of course, as in any journey of growth, not everything is smooth sailing, and the philosophies of Stoicism and minimalism also have their challenges and points that deserve a closer look. In the case of minimalism, for example, it's not uncommon to hear the criticism that it can be a luxury for the few. After all, detaching from material possessions when you barely have the essentials can sound ironic, can't it? And some people point out that minimalism sometimes becomes a new form of consumerism, with the relentless search for the perfect minimalist item, which ends up contradicting the spirit of detachment. The truth is that simplicity is not synonymous with scarcity, but with consciousness. It's important to remember that the goal isn't to have the minimum of everything, but to have enough what truly adds value and inner peace, and not to get caught up in fads. And we need to understand that this journey of self-discovery, whether with Stoicism, minimalism, or Eastern philosophies, is a marathon, not a 100-meter dash. There's no magic formula, no one size fits all that works for everyone. What works for me might not be ideal for you, and that's perfectly fine. Life is a continuous process of learning and adapting. There will be days when self-control will be easy, and you'll feel like a Marcus Aurelius, and on others, resilience will be tested to the limit. And you know what? Perfection isn't the goal. The important thing is progress, the intention to be a little better every day, to apply virtue in your choices. So, as you dive headfirst into these teachings, keep in mind that it's a flexible journey, full of nuances. Don't be too hard on yourself and celebrate the small victories. Epictetus already said that some things are within our power and others are not. Focusing on what's within your power, your attitude, your thoughts, your actions, and letting go of what isn't is the key. It's not about following a dogma to the letter, but about absorbing what makes sense to you and integrating this knowledge organically into your life. It's a construction, brick by brick, towards greater inner peace and a life with more purpose. And speaking of purpose, how about we put all these pieces together in our conclusion? We've reached the end of quite a journey, exploring how Stoicism and minimalism, hand in hand with Eastern philosophies, offer us a map to a life with more meaning, purpose, and, most importantly, a happiness that doesn't depend on material possessions or external approval. We've seen that true wealth lies in virtue, in wisdom, and in our ability to live fully in the present with self-control and inner peace. It's an invitation for you to look within, detach from what no longer serves you, and build an unshakable fortress in your mind. Life is full of ups and downs, but the resilience we cultivate with these teachings allows us to face any storm with our heads held high, without losing serenity. Now, I ask you, how will you begin to apply these seeds of wisdom in your life? Will you choose an area to practice the detachment of minimalism? Or will you challenge yourself to exercise the self-control and resilience that Stoicism teaches us, especially when things get tough? Think of a small step you can take today to cultivate more inner peace and live a life more aligned with your values. Remember, transformation begins from the inside out, and every small action counts a lot on this journey. How about we continue this conversation and delve even deeper into these topics that can, in fact, change the game of your life? If you liked what you saw here and want more content that helps you find this inner strength and clarity, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. That way, you won't miss anything that's coming, and we can continue together on this journey of self-discovery and well-being. The world can be chaotic, but your mind, that can be a true sanctuary of inner peace.